first lesson for this actual new unit. So our goal is I will be able to read graphs so that I can describe the relationship between two quantities. All right, so what we're really looking at is trends in graphs. Now it's a little bit different than just saying what relationship it is. So when describing graphs, not only are you interested in the type of graph, such as linear, quadratic, exponential, but other descriptive words such as, and here are just a few of them, but at least it gives us a list: falling rapidly, greater decrease, smaller increase, greater increase, same increase, rising slowly. So these are just a few. Notice there's no actual numbers there, so it's a little bit different than what we've done before. So what does that mean? Okay, so if you notice I have the word etc. here, it means there's many other words we could use. So how is this done? So let's look at our first example. First of all, what we're doing is we are comparing the same horizontal distance, okay, so the horizontal distance with the vertical distance between 2 points. Okay, so in other words, if I keep this distance the same, I want to find out whether this horizontal distance stays the same between 2 points, or whether for one of them it's like this, but for another, the distance actually, oh, it's not going to let me do it, actually is maybe higher, but I'm not never going to change the horizontal distance. So we're keeping the horizontal distance the same when we're comparing, and what we're doing is we're seeing whether the vertical distance between those points increases or decreases using these words from above. So the first example that we're going to look at is, you can see quite a different graph. You can see it looks like 3 sections. It looks like it has a section here. This one here looks slightly different, and obviously this one here looks very different from the other two. So we're going to compare the horizontal distance. So I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to say this is my horizontal distance that I'm going to use. Okay, and I'll try to make it horizontal. Sometimes it doesn't do that. So I'm going to keep that distance the same. So I'm going to put one, where it happened to it, it disappeared. I'm going to put one, oops, I know what the problem is. I need to send this back. So I have one here, and I'm going to clone that one so you know that I haven't changed it. I'm just going to move it. Oops, a daisy. There we go. And I'm going to move it to here. And maybe move this one down again. Okay, so I'm going to compare the distance. Does it change from the vertical distance if I kept that horizontal the same? And just to be on the safe side, I'm going to also lock that in place so it can't go anywhere. So if I take this and I actually do a little bit of calculations, it looks like this is just a little bit too long yet. I have to shrink it in order for me to make a triangle. Okay, so that roughly looks like what it is. Now, I'm comparing that horizontal distance with this horizontal distance. And so I'm going to clone this one and I'm going to see. Now, obviously, you're not going to clone on your page, so you are not. Let's see if I can move it over. And you can see that it's the same kind of step pattern. So that tells me something about this part of the graph. Because it's going up at a constant rate. Okay, so if I look at the words that we were given from above, what could I say? Well, I have them here. So is it going up? Is it increasing or decreasing? Well, it looks like it's increasing, and it's the same increase. So I can actually use those words when I'm describing this portion of the graph. So what I would say for this portion of the graph is that it is increasing And I also would say either the word constant or the same increase. Okay, so maybe the same increase might be a better order. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the second part of the graph. Again, I can see that it is different than the other one. So I'm going to clone, and between the different sections, I could change actually the horizontal, and I'm going to clone another one. But when I'm comparing sections, I want to keep that part the same. So I have two sections there, and now I'm going to take the horizontal. I'm going to clone it, and one thing that you'll notice, one thing that you'll notice right away is when I get it to come, it doesn't even make it to the top. Okay, so it's going up faster than it was here. Okay, so it's going up faster before I reach the graph again. Okay, so let's find out if I actually clone that again, and just to check to make sure that it's increasing at the same rate, and it appears that it is. Okay, so you can see that especially if I'm looking at the vertical distance is much taller here, and this is much shorter. So this one is also increasing. It's the same increase, but it's a greater increase. Okay, so what I would put there would be, and I'm going to type mine again, uh, greater, same, increase. Okay, so I used three words to describe that section. The next part we can see, it's going to be a little bit harder to do this one in a sense because it doesn't appear to me, just by looking at it, that it is actually increasing. It looks like it's doing something else. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to do it at the top just so I can see it better. And I'm going to clone it. I'm going to put it in another spot on this graph. So I put it here. Now you can see already the vertical distance is going to be, it's going to be much less than the other two that we've looked at. Okay, and actually instead of cloning, I'm just going to take it down. You can see that they're roughly the same. So what's happening here, it's still the same because the vertical distance is the same. However, I'm decreasing. And am I decreasing a whole lot? Well, no, the vertical distance isn't very high, isn't very long. So what I can put for this part of the graph when I'm explaining it is that it's a small decrease, and it's the same decrease. Okay, later on we'll talk about the word constant and stuff. So I'm going to stop the video just to make sure that I have enough for the next example. It will not be very long at all.